Jasky starting where St. They're kidding on me for not being a Star Wars fans. These guys are like the mob, man. They're ready to chop my head off.
Because today's May the 4th, so it's May the 4th be with you.
Well, they always have a day, St. Star Wars has like 20 days a year.
You know what? I'm thinking Lakers, Warriors, and you guys are thinking Star Wars. Come on, let's get going here.
That's what I'm saying, St. I said, I don't care about Star Wars. They bring up Star Wars all the time. The Warriors in one game 4 against Sacramento, they brought up superheroes. And I'm saying I'm focused on basketball and all the Star Wars. They got like a mob, St. It's incredible. It's like Al Pacino. It's all these guys, dude. It's Bumpy Johnson and company looking to chop my head off for disrespect to Star Wars. I just want to talk LeBron James and Steph Curry. All right.
Those guys, let's go.
Let's go, Saley. All right, game one obviously went the Lakers' way. Anthony Davis played big, but I thought most importantly, on the defensive end, he was able to camp out, and I believe Draymond Green, he took accountability. He's got to be more aggressive to get Anthony Davis out of the paint there. But, boy, what an impressive game one for the big fella for the L.A. Lakers.
Well, when he's right, guys, he's one of the top 5 players in the league. The question is how healthy he is, stamina, fatigue, injuries, a lot of variables. But you got to give him his due. He was fantastic. He was the best guy on the floor, and that's going to have to calm down for the Warriors to get a win tonight.
So how do they slow him down, like schematically? Because we were talking about, different things for, Anthony Davis in terms of slowing him down and stopping him. I'm like, you can't let him get the ball in the paint because once he gets the ball in the paint, Anthony Davis is going to rise up. He has that little baby hook. I want to see him, A, continue to hit shots from outside the key, and B, put the ball on the floor going to his left. What would you like to see the Warriors do defensively against him?
Well, I like what you're sharing, and I think that he's not a conventional big. He's not going to get on that left box, and he wants 2 dribbles middle, and he's going to throw a jump hook. That's not who he is. Where he gets you is just what you said, the length, the paint catches, his touch, his offensive rebounding, and then you tie it in. He can pick and roll, and he likes to pick and pop and make jump shots. So he's not an easy guy to double team. But what you can do is think about this. What are we going to do to get him slowed down? We got to run the heck out of him. You know what? Whether it's Draymond or Looney, you got to sprint to the rim. We call it rim run, and you got to go like heck. You got to be a screener. You got to be a facilitator, changing sides and screening. Make him be involved with Steph, Clay, and Poole. Don't let him sit back in what we call drop coverage. If he steps in there, he dominates the paint. So you got to get him involved in the pick and roll. And then Steph should have great looks if he's handling a lot. So he's not an easy task, but I don't think he's going to back it up with another game like that. I really don't.
No doubt. I'm with you there. The St. one here. By the way, the Quest for 5 brought to you by the Alameda PD, now offering a $75,000 hiring incentive. Our team is your future. Go to alamedapolice.org to apply today. I'm with you there. The drop coverage, and that's where I look at Klay Thompson. He's 10 of 35 the last 3 games from 3, and he was 1 of 8 in that pivotal third quarter Tuesday night in game number 1. But the looks he got, St. Lee, you're right on it with the drop coverage. If he's going to play, and Mully always calls it drop dead coverage because you're dead if you play the drop coverage on Steph and Clay and Jordan Poole. I think the Warriors will still have some production for the 3-point line, but it's the points in the paint, 54-28. That was a little too lopsided for me, St. Lee, in game 1.
Yeah, you'd like to think that if you made that many threes versus the paint points for them, that you'd come out on top. But the area that they dominated was the free throw line. And their whole mantra, you guys listen to Ham and the huddles, hands straight up, don't fall, transition defense. That's their whole thing. Take away layups in transition. Don't commit foolish fouls. And if you do that, we're going to have a great chance to win. It was even on the boards. For me, just like you're saying, you can't be intimidated by him. But you probably talked to Mully about this. There's techniques of how to screen a shot blocker. You go in there and maybe just, Steph had a layup in the game, second half. And I don't know if you guys recall, Draymond kind of screened Davis out
to
go to the penetration. I think there's got to be more of that kind of technique. It's not talked about a lot, but it's subtle, but it's effective. And, hey, guys, when you look at this, you tip your hat, you say, hey, they did a great job. I'm concerned about this kid Vanderbilt. I didn't know much about him. This kid can defend.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a heck of a job. I'm not a big fan of Russell and Schroeder, but they did a heck of a job, and Schroeder can put pressure on the ball. And the kid Reeves, hey, he's a nice player.
Yeah.
You look like he's in eighth grade, but the guy can play. He knows how to play the game. And you know what, guys? I think LeBron's foot is not nearly 100%. And that's okay. Let him be where he is, just like he is. And I think with that in mind, we're going to see more of the small lineup. I think that's more advantageous to the Warriors.
Man, so much to break down there because you're saying you want to go small. How can they win these matchups? Clay versus Reeves. Obviously, Wiggins, when D'Lo's guarding him early, he's got to attack him. I'm looking at those matchups. They've got to win those ones. So how do you get that going for those guys?
Well, that's two great matchups that you're talking about, and they're your two best post players. Now, if you guys remember, if you watch Clay on the right box, he is excellent getting down there, and he turns left shoulder to the baseline, and he knocks that shot down all the time. Now, do they post him a lot? No, but it's an area where if he needs a hoop, he can go down there. They don't call a play for him. And with Wiggins, oh, boy, hey, guys, put him on the right box, cross-screen for him with a small, let him come into that left box, and he's as good a post player as you have. So if you need something, you can go to that, and you just ice those other guys or get them involved in some screen action so they can't come to the post up. And I think those are really effective. And guys, I'm telling you, Wiggins is going to be as big a factor as he was last year in that Boston series. He allows you to go small. He is strong and he can defend, and he's in great shape. I liked his activity in Game 1. I don't know that he had the productivity on the stat line, but I really liked his movement out there. He was really aggressive, and that's what we're going to need to see tonight.
Yeah, no, I'm with this, Saintly. I think he's been solid considering he missed 25 straight games to come back in a high-level series like the Sacramento Kings series. He played all those minutes defending Fox, defending Monk. I think Wiggins will have a big night and take advantage of that matchup and play Russell off the floor. No doubt about that. You brought up Klay Thompson. What about some of the other guys here? I feel like one of these guys have to pop. GP2 or Dante DiVincenzo. And what DiVincenzo can do offensively, I don't know if GP2 can do that. DiVincenzo struggles so far in the playoffs, but I do believe if he gets the shots and the looks that Poole and Curry and Clay received in Game 1, I think this could be a big DiVincenzo series. I kind of favor him a little more than GP2 right now, but they've got to figure out how to get him going. So how do you get DiVincenzo going, Saintly?
Well, you know what? He's not a guy you have to call a play for, but you like to see him. I'm not going to bank it all on his making threes. I love when he puts the ball on the floor, creates for others, relocates, gets a wide-open shot.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's a great rebounder for a guard. Look, guys, you're still at home. Role players play better at home. One of those two guys, we can chat again. I'll bet you one of those two guys is going to be instrumental tonight. I totally agree with you. And it's big because it helps you win that hustle game, the 50-50 game. The Lakers thought they won that in Game 1. That should not happen when you've got those kind of players on the floor for you.
You're referencing the Dante DiVincenzo's kind of reluctance to shoot the three right now, like him and GP2, excuse me. How do you get them confident? Because it does feel like the floor opens up for them when they do knock down a shot, and sometimes when you pass those shots up, just the offense can get more congested. I guess is where I'm going with this. So how do you get them feeling free and confident about themselves while also taking good shots?
Well, here's an old NBA verse I'm going to give you.
Yeah, give it to me.
A shot created must be taken. Why do you say that? Because if you don't take the shot, then they're going to play 5-on-4 against you defensively. And what goes on in the playoffs, guys, is so much about matchups. And you see where, say, the last series, you sagged off a Sabonis. You didn't go up and guard him. Well, that's the thought process that goes into these games. that you're looking and saying, okay, hey, I'm not going to worry about DiVincenzo and Poole. Well, then if that be the case and you get the ball and it's not going well for you, drive it and create it for somebody else. Just don't stand there and be a movie director. And with that in mind, hey, if you do that, you've got people that can shoot the ball, and you got to be pleased with Jermichael Green.
Right.
He comes in and knocks down a couple because you need another big to step up a little bit. We still might see Kuminga. I don't know what's going to go on there with the rotation, but guys, listen. Listen. I'm not letting the cat out of the bag. They're not going to come out and guard Looney or Green.
Yep.
They're not going to do it. The only reason they're going to move up is if they're in screen and roll or dribble handoff action where you keep knocking down shots. That kills the drop coverage, and then they have to move up.
That's a great point there. We're talking to Garry St, former GM of the Golden State Warriors, former head coach of the Sacramento Kings. I know you got to drop William off at daycare soon here, so we'll get you there. A pit stop at Lenardi's, of course, by the way. The Lenardi's, let me tell you, that broccoli cheddar soup, hey, Saintly, man, that broccoli cheddar soup, it's hard. Now, I'm on a diet right now, so I haven't had it for a few weeks. But, boy, every time I walk in there with baby Chaz, we're walking in there, she goes, Papa, broccoli cheddar. I'm like, oh, we can't do it today. It's too much. I got to lose weight, man, and fit into the suits here. But you brought up Kuminga, and he was in the Chronicle, and C.J. Holmes wrote a great story about Jonathan Kuminga yesterday because he averaged 23 minutes a game from February 1st to the end of the regular season. It really looked like he kind of etched his name into the rotation. But he hasn't played much in the playoffs, and he's, you can tell he's kind of wandering a little bit. And he said this, it's still tough to lock in every single time. It's still tough to smile every single time. Then he ended the quote by basically saying, you can't stop the sun from shining, and at some point the sun is going to come up. That's what keeps me ready to play every day. So what would you say to the young fella, 20 years old, who's not getting an opportunity? What would you tell the young fella, Saintly? You're a guy, words of wisdom, you brighten up everybody's day. How would you tell JK, hey, it's going to be okay, kid, just wait for your opportunity?
Well, that's the role of an assistant coach. Take him for a walk. Get him out in the hallway. Give him a hug. Look him in the eye and tell him, you got to stay positive. You don't know. Listen, this is the rotation right now. An injury could happen in 5 minutes, and you're going to be a key cog to the team. You've got to stay focused. You've got to believe in yourself and understand this is the playoffs. The rotation gets tighter. And it's nothing personal. This is the way that the team thinks it's best it can win. But we still believe in you and for a lot in the future. But your time is going to come. You don't know when. You've got to be ready.
How do you deal with, the age discrepancies on some of these guys? I mean, I was telling Bonte, you can't treat all your children the same. You can't treat all your teammates or your family members the same. And I look at someone like JK. I mean, there's clearly some cultural differences because of how he grew up. And I mean, he's closer in age to Riley Curry than he is to Steph Curry. It's difficult. So is that incumbent on the player himself? Is that, other veterans on the team? Is that part of the staff? Like, how do you massage that?
Well, I talked about the assistant coaches. Hey, if you're up in that GM seat and Bob Myers or Mike Dunleavy, who I love, those guys, they've been into the wars. They know that the guy's shoulders are down a little bit. And don't you think Andre Iguodala, I mean, that's the beauty of having him around.
Yeah.
He knows. He's been through all the wars. And he knows this young guy has tremendous potential. But right now may not be his time. But he's got to sell him what I was talking about before and tell him that you believe in him. And that's the beauty. Let me tell you guys something. There's all kinds of teams with all kinds of issues. When you got Steph Curry as the main guy giving that speech before Game 7, this is a locker room that's different than the 29 other teams in the league.
Right.
Because he is such a unique person and player. I just can't give him enough praise. So he's a big factor in this whole thing.
All right, Saintly, it's always good to hear your voice. Everybody's smiling now. We feel good about game number 2 tonight at Chase Center. Remember, get there an hour early, 6 p.m. tip-off. 6 p.m. tip-off, 5 p.m. pregame on NBC. By the way, your son was out here for game 3 of the King Series. When you coming back to Chase Center, Saintly? We need to see you, man.
Greg went to the game with Mully. They asked me, and I said, I'm either going to hang with you or I got my bottle of red over there ready for consumption. And I'll be starting early tonight. I could be Priest Ranch again. They have a wine that's called Coach, and I kind of like it.
Got to check that out.
W for the Warriors tonight, fellas.
Yeah, I
Gary,
love it.
does that red wine get in your face, or is it more subtle and relaxed?
Oh, no, it's just beautiful. I talked to it. You know, he and I are talking about, the dribble handoffs and the back doors. And we get smarter as the game goes on.
Talking about that old split action, huh? In the floppy sets. There it is,
I
St.
needed
Lee.
my daily injection
man.
of Gary St. Jean's happiness into my life.
No doubt. It was good to see
miss
Greg,
you,
too,
buddy.
man. Greg and Bully listening to them talk basketball is something else, man. St. Lee's good to talk
You're
to you,
the
man.
best,
We'll do it
buddy.
again very, very soon. I promise you.
Go Warriors, guys. Thanks a million.
Let's
Anytime.
go.
Gary St. Jean here on the Morning Roast on 95.7
How can you not
Game.
smile after hearing
I
him?
love St. Lee, man.